Hello and welcome back to the Movie Attic. I'm Mike, and as I've said about 25 million times, this is the attic where I discuss and review movies, DVDs, Blu-Rays, and 4Ks for all the nice people out there in YouTube land. I survived my first live stream, and so I'd like to thank, of course, Ralph at Retrovision Network. It was a lot of fun. So I thought I'd follow that up with kind of a review and showing off part of the collection, which I guess he wants me to show off some of my collection at some point. So today's big feature film is going to be that same one we did in the live stream. It is, I guess I could pull this up, Godzilla versus Megalon. This is usually touted as one of the worst Godzilla films of the Showa era. And me and Ralph didn't quite agree with that harsh of a take on the movie. But as evidence that it is considered a bad movie, I thought I'd show off this. It is Mystery Science Theater 3000, and there, I might as well show the back. One of the movies on this set is Godzilla versus Megalon, and I don't know which disc it is. Oh, it's actually that disc there on the end. I had gotten this off of eBay because apparently, I guess I could show the back of this too. It lists all the movies and different things. I got this off of eBay because apparently they didn't have the rights to use Godzilla vs. Megalon. So they ended up, I think, recalling it, and then they put out the set with a different movie on instead of that one. So there you have that. I think the only other Godzilla thing from the 70s that's probably disliked more than that would be the Godzilla animated series. And of course I have Volume 2 and Volume 3. I'd seen a lot of negative reviews about this series as well. But back to the topic at hand. I don't have the sheet of paper. Sorry, Ralph. But I'm not here to discuss the stats so much because there's so many different versions of the movie out there. You know, depending on which one you have, the stats will be different, of course. But it is from 1973. The U.S. release was 1976. I believe it was 83 minutes long, and I think the U.S. cut was 1 minute shorter than that. So if you know anything about this, and you live in the U.S., you know, when all this stuff started going to DVDs, there was so many companies that had the distribution rights to the Showa era, well, and the other ones too, in the U.S. that some of the movies were really hard to get, like Godzilla vs. Megalon. So my first encounter with this on DVD was this double feature. I believe this was a Canadian release. And the video quality is kind of poor, as probably one would expect. Both movies are on one disc. And I watched it in preparation for the live stream. I noticed a lot of the shots were zoomed way in, like when Megalon's doing things, like it's like right in Megalon's face. And there's an infamous nude poster, a couple posters in the back of this pickup truck in the movie. It's zoomed way in on the people in the truck, so you don't see any of that in this version of the movie. Of course, like I always do, or at least with Godzilla and Gamera, that was alright. And there's a scene in it that's super dark on the Blu-ray, and it's really dark on here. You almost can't see anything. But I thought, I'd like the Japanese version of the movie, so then I graduated to this DVD, which I got off of eBay. And that was good for a little while. And then we got this release, which this is the DVD of. I guess I can show the back. And it's, like I say, it's a DVD. And put out by that same company was the Blu-ray version of it, which I think the pictures and everything's all the same. So it's, yeah, and I think even the disc art's the same. So that's where it was kind of left. Then, by some miracle of distribution rights, Criterion came out with this giant box set of all the Showa era Godzilla films. And of course, I think I have the page marked here somewhere. Otherwise, I don't know what the use of that envelope was. There's the artwork they used for that. It's on a Blu-ray disc with another movie, Godzilla movie. So, yeah, very cool set. I'd gotten this quite a while ago. And then that's when I really noticed this nude poster in the back of the truck. But as far as the movie itself, the story basically, and I don't want to bore everybody with this story like I usually do. And this is why I don't know why it's so hated. It has a lot of classic tropes from, really the first Godzilla, in a sense. You know, there's nuclear testing. It harms the Seatopian people who used to be above land. So they essentially call on Megalon to destroy the top dwellers, or the people on top. And they also call in Gigan from outer space to help with that. The story revolves around these two scientists and this kid. They're making this robot, Jet Jaguar, who apparently is based on Ultraman. And then Ultraman gets, or not Ultraman, but Jet Jaguar is told by the scientist, hey, go get Godzilla. And then you have a big melee, a 4 monster melee. And then I won't tell you who wins, but obviously Godzilla's in other movies. So, but, you know, some of the great things that I loved about this movie, and why I don't think it's the worst of the Godzilla movies, is one, it has that history of the Seatopians and Easter Island. You have this kid, which they're, you know, when Godzilla is like a friend to Japan, it always, well, almost always involves a kid. You got a robot, an Ultraman-like robot. You have a new monster, Megalon, obviously. You get to see an older monster, which was only 1 year prior, in Gigan. The kid has this cool little motorbike. You got model airplanes. You got that thing at the very beginning that the kid's riding in the lake, which is very cool. this little dune buggy that the scientist has running around all willy-nilly. And, it's all fun stuff. As they say, it's all fun and games until somebody gets hurt. But, yeah, there was so many things. Now, there is, I think part of the hate, too, is there's a lot of reused footage in this movie. And if you're looking for it, you can see shots from previous Godzilla movies and all stuff like that. But overall, I would say, this is far from the worst Godzilla movie. And it's far from the one that I watched the least. But like I said, we discussed it over on the live with Ralph. So I did rate it on his show, and I was torn between two grades. But I think if I was to rate this movie, which is obviously the purpose of this, well, it's not the purpose of this show, but it's one of them. I would give it a solid 7.5 rolls of pink insulation out of 10. It's a fun watch. Obviously, if you're looking for a serious Godzilla movie, this is not it. Oh, and like we mentioned it in the live stream. I don't want to rehash stuff from that, but I think everybody knows the infamous Godzilla sliding on his tail doing the drop kick. And, that alone is, I think the only scene prior to that in a Godzilla movie that was, similar was maybe in that Monster Zero, or I forget what the regular title of it is, where he's hopping around doing different poses. So those are probably the two most notorious scenes for Godzilla. But, like I said, it's an enjoyable watch if you are just out to have fun and not take anything too seriously. Like I've said many times, I like history, and there's the history of the Seatopians. They used to live, on above ground, and then something happened, a cataclysmic event, and then they built their little Seatopia thing. You have the guy who's in charge of Seatopia, which I guess his name's Antonio, which I learned from the live stream, which is kind of odd for a Godzilla movie, let alone one with a leader. Most of the leaders I ever see from Godzilla movies and non-Godzilla movies are like Commander Heck, Captain Heck, only not Heck. And so it seems like a weird title. And of course you can't go into this movie without talking about the dancing women whenever they're summoning Megalon, and like I said in the live stream, it always put me in mind like they were dancing around in shower curtains. It was very strange. And of course, like any of this stuff, there's moments that are like, there's a moment where one of the scientist guys and the kid are in the back of this truck, like a box in a box, and it gets smacked around by Megalon. Obviously, a box containing a person that's flying through the air and then crashes on the ground would have killed anybody normally. Or, as they say on all these shows, made them unalive. But, like I said, a very fun movie. I loved it. Jake, who's on the show once in a while, he's supposedly going to leave a link to that live stream, because I don't know anything. I was actually surprised I was able to be on there without any technical glitches, because like I say, I can barely shut this camera off and turn it on, let alone do anything as elaborate as a live stream. But Ralph had a lot of nice clips from the movie. And, yeah, it was I loved it. Had a great time. And was glad to know that there was somebody else out there that did not hate the movie. So if you have any of these releases or any of the big box set, or just like Godzilla, leave a comment down in the comment section. Like I always say, I'd love to discuss it. So until next time, when I'm in the attic with something completely different, which it might be another one of the Music Attic episodes, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.